I haven't seen already, Happy New Year, since the bizarre saying that again. It also feels a bit like January's been a whole year all on its own. I can't believe we're still in January. I'm Councillor Doug Lawson, I'm the Chair of the Town Council. Can I remind those of you present that the meeting is being recorded, not by the Town Council. If members of the public or anybody else here doesn't wish to be filmed or recorded, if they're speaking, please let us know now. Good. And just to let you know, the Town Council doesn't record all live stream meetings, but we do fully support the principle of openness and transparency and have no objection to it being filmed and reporting. Sorry, and having being reported afterwards. We're not expecting a fire alarm, so if one sounds, please make your way outside and across the street to Hemel Muster Point. And if anybody needs it, the toilet is out there. You can keep going until you see a door with a sign on it that says toilet. Okay, so item number 1, apologies for absence.
Yeah, we've received apologies for absence from Councillor Bab Jason and Dan Jason.
Okay. Second item is meeting minutes. To note that the minutes from the following committees have been circulated and published on the council website since our last ordinary meeting. So there was a series of planning committee meetings on the 4th and the 18th of December last year and the 8th of January this year. Finance committee met on the 15th of January and the communities committee last met on the 18th of December. I'd like to propose that we approve the minutes of those meetings and the meeting of the council held on Monday the 20th of November and the minutes of the extraordinary meeting of the council held on Tuesday the 16th of January. Is everybody happy to do that?
We're just noting planning, finance and communities. We want to approve the council.
Okay, yeah, okay. Show of hands, everyone happy with that? Item number 3, declaration of interest and requests for dispensations.
Received non-private meeting.
Chair.
Item number 6, motions on notice. As I'm a Western Fairness Councillor, I want to be part of the debate and vote on the motion.
Any others? Okay. If you think of anything during the course of the meeting, then feel free to just speak up. Right, item number 4 is public participation. I've got a request from one member of the public. Jonathan, would you like to...
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm actually doing this on behalf of Clifton Community Council as its chair. I just wanted to thank, on behalf of Clifton Penrith Town Council, for supporting the motion that we put forward in connection with the rural fuel duty. We have had a response as such, a bit of copy and paste and a slight paragraph of information from government that I believe Ian's got a copy and he's going to circulate to everybody. The long and the short of it, without boring all the copy and paste, government have said there's no plans at present to make any changes to the areas covered by the rural fuel duty scheme. However, the government keeps all taxes under review and any changes are typically announced at fiscal events, so with an election and budget, who knows. But what Clifton would like to do is actually thank properly the Town Council, because it meant a lot to us for the support and to other parish councils in the area that supported the motion. Clifton resolved a while ago to actually look to collaborate with councils neighbouring us a lot more and try and work together a lot more productively and beneficially for our communities. And we're planning on arranging an event in March where we'll be inviting parish and town councillors from the local area to get together to see how we can work a lot more beneficially and collaboratively, because what happens in Penrith affects our rural communities a lot, you know, with shops closing and businesses closing. It has that knock-on impact for us all. So we'd like to look to work a lot more collaboratively, and with that vein, you have a motion this evening that should the Town Council decide that it wants support from neighbouring councils, we will be more than happy, without predetermining anything, to receive a copy of a request to consider that, because we do believe that the hub could potentially impact the town further and be to the detriment of our community in Clifton as well. Thank you.
Okay, we don't have any other public participation. So I will ask if we have any Westmoreland and Furness councillors who would like to give us an update. Councillor Taylor, anything from you? Oh, okay. Councillor Bell?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to speak tonight on two things, the regeneration of Penrith Town Centre and the Eden Enterprise Hub. But I'll start with the Town Centre regeneration. Councillors and residents alike have been concerned for some time about the decline of our high street. We already do have some schemes underway, parking movement work, cycling walking work and the Borderlands Town Deal projects. These are all led by Westmoreland and Furness, and they're all partnership projects involving the Town Council, the bids, the Chamber and others. But those projects alone are not going to be enough. Westmoreland and Furness Council are very aware of the proposed closures in Penrith. To date, the conversations have focused on the co-op in Boroughgate. The council don't own that building. Council officers told us last week. We are also aware of Barclays' intention to leave the town centre in the next few months. We believe we should explore whether Barclays would be open to a conversation about establishing an Eagle Lab in the building. The Eagle Lab concept is thriving in Whitehaven, and believe that there's a latent demand locally. Penrith could also be a success. We understand the building is not owned by Barclays, and we're currently researching the ownership of the building. In the very near future, Westmoreland and Furness councillors and planning and economy officers are intending to invite the town team, that is, all the key stakeholders in the town, to meet to have a first conversation about the regeneration of the town centre, with a view to working together in the coming months and years. Now to the Enterprise Hub. All the projects inherited by Westmoreland and Furness from the legacy councils are subject to a review, and the Eden Business Hub is no exception. You may remember Eden District Council submitted a proposal to deliver the Eden Enterprise Hub in response to the government's call for levelling up Round 3. The submission set out a request for 7.09 million. While initially unsuccessful, the proposal received government support only last November. The government have requested the council complete a project validation exercise to reassess and update the proposal. The council has therefore sought to review a range of sites and reassess current latent demand for commercial space within the former Eden area. Government has made it really clear that the funding is still subject to final approval. Government has imposed some requirements for the funding, including the expenditure must remain in the spirit of the original bid, so it can't be used for different projects, and the project must be delivered by March 2026. The council returned an initial validation questionnaire to government last December. A second stage request for information has now been received, and it must be returned by the 2nd of February. This requires an update on the project, its deliverability, including site location, revised costings, and updated programme. As usual, the government has only allowed a very, very tight window of opportunity. The council is concerned with 3 tests. Because the funds will need to be spent by March 26, the site will therefore need to be able to be mobilised at pace. The second core test relates to finance. The cost of delivering the Enterprise Hub should not exceed that original figure of of 7.09 million on offer, or lead to additional costs for the council to fund. Thirdly, the enterprise hub must be financially sustainable and not require continuous large-scale maintenance. Through consultation with local property agents, it's clear that there is a latent demand within the area for good quality space. There is more demand for workshops than office space. And the market is for smaller units of 250 square foot to 2,000 square foot. Agents feel that the options are currently limited in the Penrith area and that public sector intervention is required to provide a solution to the lack of available property. It was suggested that Penrith could accommodate more than one enterprise hub without oversupplying property. Each of the tests have been applied to a number of potential sites, and these fit into three main categories: greenfield site involving new build, town centre refurbishment, or out of town refurbishment. Other requirements, such as working with a willing landowner, have been considered as part of the options analysis. This will be necessary for the project to be delivered at pace. Since the submission of the original proposal, the council is concerned with the potential increased costs due to inflationary pressures. Work continues at speed. The 2nd of February is not far away. We need to meet the deadlines, and there will be more information as soon as it's available.
Item number 5, excluded items, public bodies and additions to meetings. I'm just asking you to note that item 16 can be considered as part of item 10C, providing that nobody mentions specifically salary scales and grades that are not in the public domain. Salaries are set nationally by the National Joint Council for Local Government Services, so there shouldn't need to be any discussion on salaries. But if anybody does wish to discuss them, then we'll need to go to part 2 business for that bit and that bit only of the budget. Okay. Item 6 is a motion on notice inspiring a Levelling Up Hub. To consider the motion on notice from Councillor Smith. I'll hand over to Councillor Smith now to present the motion and move it.
Thank you very much. Our very first motion, so be nice. Yes, I wish to move this motion. Ben heard some background on this motion already. It goes back to the funding bid by the former District Council fund. Back then, this town council submitted a letter with no support, and correctly predicted in a way that the bid would not be successful. For one reason or another, this funding has, well, very welcomely, I suppose, been resurrected and allocated. This means that, as previously mentioned, that the Westmoreland First Council are looking at a proposal from the business case for it. The purpose of this motion isn't to be kind of massively negative. It's to use the opportunity of the proposals being looked at again to make sure the effect that they could have on the local area and how they realise the aims of the Levelling Up Fund are seriously considered during this review. Okay. Although obviously Westmoreland First Council have the responsibility to widen the area, the current proposed use of the Levelling Up Fund money does concern us, Penrith residents and businesses as well, as it could potentially have a competing impact on the town centre rather than sustaining or regenerating the impact that the Levelling Up Fund aims for. So it's just kind of to reinforce really that town centres need the investment, There's another call to encourage looking inside the town more than outside, as per what the Living Up is supposed to do. In bringing this motion, I want to stress that the funding for local area is extremely welcome and needed. It's great news and sure to help the local area as a whole. The motion is to encourage our help and involvement with and have a say in how money that will impact our residents and businesses is being spent around town.
Thank you. So we need a seconder. Councillor Jackson. Okay, so time to have a chat about, have a bit of a discussion about it. As it's the new year, I just wanted to remind everybody to try and keep it to 3 minutes each, so we don't end up with a bounce back and forth that goes on for hours and hours. Obviously, I don't want to stop anybody speaking, but yeah, just try and keep your thoughts as concise as you can, please.
Yeah, I was going to reinforce that members speak once on a motion, so we don't have that back and forth, so I might have to consider responses.
Councillor Bergen?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I do pass this site, proposed site, almost it seems on a daily basis. I'm sure several other councillors know exactly where it is. At the moment, I'm not quite sure where the proposed access was supposed to be. I seem to remember speaking on this at Eden District Council to try and find out. I know there was quite a significant number of jobs being proposed, which led me to believe that a considerable amount of extra traffic would be generated in that area, on that, the exit or entrance would have to be on that roundabout, I think, more than anywhere else. At the moment, there seems to be far more heavy goods traffic coming through Plumpton Village, down to that roundabout and then onto that link road to the M6. There's also a lot of tractors up and down which go to the digester site just up on the Fairhill Road. Strangely as well, it also is the usual route for the members of the Bowman family to take out and exercise their horses and carriages along that bit of the A6 as far as the Stony Neck roundabout. So all in all, I rather think that there's considerably more traffic in that area than we need already. It may well be that there is a need for smaller workshops and small office regeneration of that sort, but I would have thought that there must be far more suitable sites for it. As far as I'm concerned, it's a greenfield site in a rural area, and I'd be hopeful that we might keep it that way.
Anyone? Yes, okay.
Must be 15 years ago, I was talking to a client at the office. It could be more than that. He bought a property in Catalan, and I said, in 10 years' time, Junction 40 is going to be really busy. And it's just the same as it was 20 years ago, I think. Now, 20 years hence, who knows? If this happens, it could be a lot busier. At the moment, it isn't. Like, properties are creeping up over the top, and in time it's going to go down. 50 years' time, could be. I won't be dead then. I won't be bothered. But so at the moment, it is an area. If it was put there, it doesn't feel right. When passing the other day, it's a green area. It just feels wrong to sort of do it now. There is spaces in the town, but yeah, Copes had mentioned if we develop that, but where that comes in as a hub or whatever. If there is a demand, I don't know how much the demand is. So obviously, you can't just suddenly produce properties and 500, 700 jobs appear. It's a rather gradual thing. It is quite a big step, and I think it would transform the area enormously. I just don't feel happy at the moment. We've got Gilwilly, whatever it's called, East Lakes Business Park. I've actually put forward some ideas for the link road from there to Junction 41, which I feel that's an area which, if that was linked to 41, and it would be a huge benefit for Gilwilly. I also take profit off Junction 40 beyond that. That's maybe a separate issue, but it's all linked into the same sort of area. And I think Gilwilly has been developed, if you could get in from the other end, my figures have been, plans have been put around to various people. That would be a big benefit for Gilwilly and that area. So I feel if somehow we could bring that into an emotion as looking at links for that, who knows what you think about, but it's a green area at the moment. I feel it's too early. 30 years time might be possible.
Councillor Jackson.
Yes, I think with Levelling Up and Borderlands, we're approaching an 8-figure sum that is available to Penrith, and there doesn't seem to be any sense that there could be a holistic, thought-out plan to really regenerate the town. And I think baubles around the side of the town with a hollowed-out centre, I think an awful lot of residents would find that unconscionable when the heart of the town isn't being looked after. We have a once-in-a-generation, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really make a difference. I heard it mentioned that Westmoreland and Furness don't own particular buildings, but no one owns anything until ownership's established, sought out, and I think this opportunity affords a real exciting sort of counterpoint in Penrith's history and future. And we should take the opportunity to really, every organisation in the town, bid, chamber, Westmoreland Furness, Town Council, take the opportunity to get together in a room, map of the town, and say, if you had the funding, what would you do? Bring all ideas to the table and create something that residents could be proud of for the next 50 or 100 years. And now is the time to do that. I'll be very, very disappointed in myself if I didn't try and push that.
Councillor Nass.
I mean, I think we're being taken for mugs a little bit by the government, because this money's only suddenly become available there and being turned down because we're in a pre-election phase. And it would be easy to jump out and spend it, but I mean, this is public money that needs to be spent wisely. It doesn't fit with the criteria that the government, with the proposal, doesn't fit with the criteria that was given by the government. The criteria was transport investment, regeneration and town centre investment and cultural investment. Okay, a little bit of it fits, but it doesn't fit that neatly into it, especially as proposed. One of our concerns last time, and it continues to be my concern, is that there was very little, if any. We didn't know of any stakeholder involvement beforehand. We weren't involved. 3 weeks running has been letters to the Herald. The most recent letter was from the Chamber of Commerce, Stephen McCauley, and from Chris Ford, who's a university, Lancaster University researcher who's done a lot of work for LEP and other organisations. I think we've all met him through the work he's done in Penrith and beyond. And they're speaking out against this, saying it will hollow out the town centre. It will do more damage to the town centre. It won't do any good. There'll be very few jobs for Penrith anyway, because they'll all ride up the M6 and take those jobs. And it's an environmental disaster as well, in terms of encouraging more people to travel to their workplace by car. I think, I'm glad Scott made that point, because ownership is only ownership once you buy something and the co-ops are for sale, as are other places there. So with the amount of money that's available, that should not have been an impediment. In fact, it should have been cheaper than starting from scratch on a new greenfield site. The other key point is, I think, that we've been talking about it for a long time, certainly I've been involved in conversations for a long time, that there needs to be a clear plan and strategy for the regeneration of a town centre as town centres change, because retail habits change and other things change. That's not going to reverse. We can keep wishing we're going to fill up these retail spaces with other shops, But the wisdom is, from everywhere that has wisdom, is that it has to be experiential retail and a different approach. And where the towns that have actually developed along those lines have succeeded and are thriving, but we haven't. And with the banks and the chopping block and other things going, it's only going to continue unless the strategic approach. And a strategic approach doesn't mean fitting projects around money that's available. It means devising a strategy and then seeking the funding to make the strategy work. But we seem to do it the other way around, and therefore there is no overall strategic approach. I think in our original letter, I think exactly the same things apply. And I just draw your attention to the British Council of Officers, who in their Future of Business Parks reported that they were environmentally unsustainable and were on the decline out of town centres. And also another organisation came up with similar findings. It's in our original letter. I don't think anything's changed in our letter. In fact, it's probably got worse, because we're more in need of a regeneration, and we're more in need of a really clear strategy for the town centre. And if we come up with a strategy and it doesn't fit this money, then we don't go for this money. We only want money that's going to be useful to us. This money seems to be spent in a way that's going to damage our town centre still further.
Well, it just really echoes what Councillor Ivy said, that I think levelling up is a very precarious thing, and it's going to be replaced by something else probably before long, and whatever it's replaced by has got to meet the needs of the town, and that's going to be far better in the town than on the outskirts of the town. And I think it's just it just is another project really at the moment that we need to think bigger than.
Yes, it does worry me that what we are trying to do is to make Penrith a really vibrant place that people want to come and live. If we don't fill up, as Dave said, the empty spaces in this town centre with, it doesn't have to be retail, it can be all sorts of things. I think we will not actually encourage people to come and live and work in Penrith. People on the outskirts, people from Carlisle, will be able to travel there easily. It still doesn't make any inroads into our green strategy and against climate change. So I just want to say I wholeheartedly support the motion that's been put forward. We've discussed this, all our thoughts were in the letter. I don't think any of them have changed. In fact, I think it's more vital that even workshops, that it's now looking as though it's not going to be a business hub as such. That's the idea currently. But even workshops are not going to, they really should be based in the city centre, near the station, in a town where there is a station where people can walk from wherever they come to use those workshops.
But I have a practical concern about the ability to complete this project at the schedule that they're talking about. 7 more days to get a rigorous re-evaluation seems to me high in the sky. Even if that is possible, and it takes the government more than a week to approve it, we still have 2 years to do all the work. I don't see, I'm not talking about other projects, this is a new build, it doesn't have the same type of problems that other retrofits have, but I cannot see how a good project suits everyone can be developed at this time frame. And for that I see slightly what Councillor Knight is saying, that we're trying to fit a project around the budget. And it's a great shame to see this money goes up, not being achievable, but I don't think we should be doing something that we don't really want to do, even if the money is free, and it's guaranteed for maintenance free for life. That's my, to us, that's my point. It's just a completely different view.
Anyone else? Okay. So you have the motion in front of you. my comments are very similar to yours. I remember Scott and I talking about this a number of years ago, saying that it's right on the very edge of the Penrith boundary, and to start building out there before you build all the infill seems on its own just a rather peculiar idea. You talked about the roads as well. There's no cycle tracks up there. There is only the one road, the A6, which on occasion can get very, very busy. And any talk of building roads anywhere else, I think somebody mentioned possibly building a road alongside the railway to get to it. But we've already talked about a number of other developments along that patch of land and the problems that they've had, and the thought of more development along there. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm also conscious that rather than just kind of taking ourselves out of the game and being too negative about it, I'd like to make sure that whatever response goes to Westmoreland and Furness says, we're here, and we've got all these ideas. I mean, that's clear from what people have said around the table. But we want to be involved. We want to, if there's going to be consultations, then we've got data, we've got things that we've already done for our neighbourhood plan. And I think we need to make sure that we stay in the game and stay positive rather than it turning into a battlefield. Councillor Jackson.
I understand that I'd like to point out that I think Westmoreland and Furness see themselves as stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea, trying to deliver something in such a horrible time frame. Something, anything. I think they should be congratulated for trying to do something. I hope a little more collaboratively. We have a lot to offer.
So, are people happy to just leave this as it is and submit a new letter? Just take the motion as is? Has anybody got any thoughts?
So, do you want to work through the resolutions as set out on page 21? Take a decision on those.
So in the light of recognising that obviously Westmoreland and Furness are kind of stuck with this, if you like, we are suggesting that we will resolve to restate our reasons for the objection in July last year, 2022, sorry. Request feasibility studies to be done on the prospect of using some of the money to create an enterprise and business hub in the town centre. Some of that I think Councillor Bell's already alluded to anyway. Emphasise the need for any studio, workshop and collaborative spaces to be included in plans for the town centre, and request that Westmoreland and Furness liaise with the town council as part of its ongoing work reviewing the business case. Councillor Mann.
Just the initial, just another couple of points. Just another point that a couple of people at least made was about the need for a clear regeneration plan. Where we're going to seek the money. I think that's an absolute pivotal thing in this whole strategy. There needs to be a clear regeneration plan, not just how it interfaces with various other plans.
So you're happy for that to be clear in the letter to Mr. First?
Yeah.
Okay. I did mention that I wasn't joking about the link road. Yes, junction 41. It is. I think it's feasible. I think it should be looked at. Because
that's all the plan.
We take pressure off junction 40 and take the cars out of the town, but makes the town less busy with cars. So I think it's that somehow could be brought into it as a sort of possibility.
Do we need to amend it or is it we have to?
No, I think we're happy with the wording. I've picked up the main points. So in restating the letter, I can add any those additional points that have been raised tonight.
Okay. So all those in favour? Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you. And that was relatively painless. Well done. There's motion down. Okay, so item 7 is my report. Just a couple of things to mention. I attended a birthday party last week for a lady in Penrith who'd reached the ripe old age of 102, which is quite an achievement. I've also been to a number of places where we've given out money for grants. I like those engagements best really because it's nice to see that the decisions that we've made are benefiting people in Penrith. One of the latest ones actually was funding that they got elsewhere was for the Scouts. They were opening a new kitchen in their Scout hut, but as part of that visit, I had a conversation with one of the scout leaders there, and that led to them requesting some more money. So we've got some news coming out shortly about another grant that we've provided to them for some heating. So that's good. And the other thing I wanted to say as part of my report was just, we've talked a lot about regeneration in the town centre. We've talked a lot about some of the bigger ideas, you know, the hub and stuff, and the larger amounts of money. I'd be interested to find out what kind of what other opportunities there are in the town. Have we got young entrepreneurs that are sitting on their hands saying, I'd love to own a shop, but I can't afford the rent? Are there people out there that have got other ideas about things that could be going on in the town centre that they'd love to do, but they haven't got the wherewithal? And those of you that are here from the press, if you could just point out that I'm asking the question, please get in touch and let me know what ideas you've got. That would be great. So that's all I have to say, really. So item number 8 is reports from members, to receive oral reports from any of you. So I'll start with this end, I think, and work my way around. Councillor Donald, then.
Well, I mentioned last time that Recovery College had run out of money in Eden, but I'm glad to say that they have now got some more funding for the coming months, which is really good. It's small, but it's hopeful. I also wanted to mention that Thursday this week is Time to Talk Day, and I'm sure it'll be in the news, but there's a few of us from one of the groups that I'm a member of that have a little event in the library at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning for the public and for members who want to turn up. So if anybody would like to come and have a cuppa and talk, it's Time to Talk on Thursday.
Councillor Jack.
I went to a Borderlands Town team meeting. I think went to, it was virtual. But all reports come through Carol and Master Council, so yeah, anything that I can add.
Councillor Byrne.
In the interest of transparency, because we were approached by Penrith Lottery, so I would just like to let you all know that as a private individual, I attended a recent meeting in the George where Penrith Lottery, Pride of Penrith Lottery were telling us about their plans for the future, and they have now started working with another organisation which is a lottery management company, and they seem very confident that their way ahead is plain sailing.
Thank you. Councillor Snell.
I haven't got anything specific to report, just apart from the fact I attend quite a lot of meetings in relation to health and well-being, and different people come along and talk about the different things that are happening in the area. And when I think it's vital that we discuss them all, I often suggest that they can approach the town council funds if they so wish. So it's really just to let you know that I am doing things all the time.
Councillor King.
Sort of similar. I went to Borderlands Zoom meeting the day, which is good to get back and go. So
Teams, man.
Teams, Zooms. So I haven't actually met personally yet. I'd quite like to see. Maybe that's just me. There's comments from talking about the road at the bottom of Graham Street. Hopefully something like that. There's a cycleway coming down. I'm trying to get. And somebody mentioned about the being side school and crossings and whatever, but I said that it's well known, the Tenants Association look at it and whatever, but I think that's obviously a big issue there. Also in communication with residents, well, we've seen some planning about the Simmons development at the top end of the town. They've now started putting in pile driving the thing in, so I suspect it's been quite noisy there. It's usually very happy, but at least it's started. But we'll see how we go.
Councillor Burton.
No, Chair. There was a Rural Services Network meeting, Zoom meeting, that I was hoping to get in, but by the time I applied, I was too late. It was full.
Councillor Knax.
The main thing I was going to mention, thank you for Councillor Bourne for raising it, but we weren't able to talk about it at the time, but if you remember, the Penrith Lottery asked us to undertake a review to consider whether we should take it over, and I did a very substantial, very detailed report for them and went to meet and discuss it with them. And it was as a result of that many of the new things came out of it. But the decisions weren't being taken, but they instantly opened negotiations with an external lottery provider, Gatherwell. They've reduced the ticket price from £2 to £1. They've increased the prize, the jackpot, sorry, from 5,000 to 25,000, which is possible because they're working with an external organisation who are insured against big wins. They also, any good cause, the kind of organisations that apply for grant can now register with them. I believe they can get a page on their website to promote themselves, and people who buy lottery tickets can nominate who they want their contribution, goes as contribution to go to. So I think it's an excellent outcome. We knew it was an excellent outcome at the time because they felt inspired to refresh it and carry on it with themselves. So I think it's a win-win all round for the participants, for the town council and for the lottery.
Chair, may I just add a little follow-up to that? Is it 20,000 or 25,000?
25.
That is actually a national draw, not just Penrith. So, although it's a larger pot of money, it's a larger number of people eligible to win it. So,
but they can win 25,000.
they can, yes. You could also win $1 million on the national lottery, but the odds are.
In the interest of transparency, can I just point out that other charitable giving and gaming is available? Councillor Holden.
Yeah, it's been fairly quiet. Before Christmas, the chair of the Carlton Park and myself were banding emails with the West Wing Furnace officers. And we've had several meetings, cold, wet, freezing meetings on that field. It's been horrible. But the trees that have been damaged, and it looked like it had been strimmer damage, there's a few things, they've now been replaced. That's 4 large trees that have now been replaced on the park. So there subsequently isn't money anyway now to do any more tree planting. That was one plan. But we are looking with, anyway, the lady who looks after trees, bulb planting hopefully along some of the green verges on the park to help the water or whatever. So, and I've also been in touch with the traffic people, and they sent me information. I think by March there's going to be some resurfacing on Primrose Drive, the Persimmon, Halton Hill Road, Persimmon, get off there. It's had a lot of traffic and it's potholes and everything, but there is going to be progress on that and further consultation on the traffic calming measures as well in due course. I think that's the last one.
Councillor Shepherd.
Attended 2 Sports Tenants Residents Association meetings. Also attended 2 consultation/information meetings with Northern Gas about their signage, etc. for works in town, and did try to encourage them to work longer hours to shorten the duration, but that was met with less than enthusiasm.
Councillor Smith.
Yes, the main one I wanted to mention was on Thursday I attended the Calc and CAFS Climate and Biodiversity Parish Council session. It was great to hear from other Cumbrian town and parish councils and other work they're doing to promote climate action, biodiversity and counteract biodiversity loss. Again, I think this should help our work towards our climate strategy, the group that we've created. And it will be really good to collaborate with other local councils going forward because there's a lot of decent work out there.
Councillor
yeah, I attended schools resident meeting as well with Councillor Shepherd and Councillor Naggs, and one thing that they asked us to do was to get some new stuff and give way signs on road markings that got faded. So they've been reported, and most of them have been done by us at First Council, and also a number of potholes along Folly Lane in the area have been filled. No potholes anymore. And
Thank you. Okay. So, item 9 on the agenda is the resolutions report. Can I ask councillors to receive and note the written report?
Noted.
Noted. Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 10, Finance Committee. Can I ask the councillors to ratify the following approved matters A and B from the Council's Finance Committee from their meeting held on Monday the 15th of January 2024, which have been considered and approved by the members of the Council's Finance Committee, and to consider item C. The committee chair has requested that these matters be brought before Council for ratification and approval. I'd like to propose that items A and B be ratified. Item A is the budgetary control statement for the period of 31st of December. So I'm going to move that one first. Do I have a second? Thank you, Charlie. I have a vote. Thank you. Item B is the policy review, which includes the reserves policy and the investment strategy. I'm proposing those policies. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Nags. All those in favour? Thank you. And item C is the proposed budget. Note that the 24-25 proposed budget and precept application has been developed and considered by the Council's finance team. Council is asked to approve matters in turn. So the first item is the forecast outturn of expenditure for 23-24, which is a total of £522,292. I'm proposing that one. Do I have a second for that one? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. And a show of hands. Thank you. And then item 2, which is the proposed budget. I'm pleased to present this budget report to the Town Council. The 24-25 proposed budget has a total expenditure of £581,932, which requires a precept of £487,735, which is a 1% increase in the Penrith Town Council element of the council tax. This will be our first increase in 4 years. A typical household in Penrith with a property value in Band D will see the council's full council tax element increase from £83.09 to £83.92 per year, which is an increase of 83 pence from the previous year. This equates to a household paying £1.61 per week for the total amount. Accompanying the budget is a robust and sustainable financial plan based on modest future rises in council tax, which will continue to grow our services and maintain sufficient reserves to ensure our resilience. The proposed budget for 24-25 provides the framework for this council to continue the progress it's made since its inception and enables it to plan for a sustainable financial future. The main adjustments to the council's budget are the proposed service development proposals, which total £36,700. These include an increased budget for the council's grant scheme, which I mentioned earlier on, which allows the council to directly support local groups, organisations, projects and events for the benefit of the whole community. The council is continuing to address its climate strategy aims and is proposing an enhanced budget to deliver on these priorities in the next financial year. The council is working with partners and town stakeholders aiming to enhance the town centre, and this budget includes additional financial resources to support the Borderlands Place programme and the delivery of the Penrith Place plan. A new budget to support a marketing programme for Penrith, which will aim to attract new businesses, visitors and shoppers to the town and help to promote the vitality of the town centre. The council is further working within this proposed budget to prepare plans which will assist in the ability to draw down additional external funding. This year, we've seen reorganisation of local government, and the council looks forward to continuing to liaise and partner with Westmoreland and Furness Council. The council are aware that Westmoreland and Furness have been reviewing their policy on community asset transfer. We look forward to working with them on the potential for assets and services to be transferred to the town council. The council has a good track record in this respect, as the long-term running costs of assets are already taken over from the previous Eden District Council and has a specific devolution reserve to support this. The council has positive financial reserves and has an agreed policy to maintain a general reserve equivalent to 30% of net expenditure by March 2029. This proposed budget is evidence of the council working towards its target by contributing from the general reserve to deliver its 24-25 budget. Internally, the council has had to manage with a reduced staff due to sickness. Yet despite these limitations, we've been able to keep our services running for the benefit of the town residents. In closing, I'd like to thank Councillor Shepherd, the members of the Finance Committee and council committees and officers for their contributions in developing the budget, which will enable the council to continue providing quality services for the town and for it to deliver its business plan priorities from a sound financial footing. I therefore propose the recommendations of the budget report and commend them to you. I have somebody to second that before we start talking about it. Thank you, Councillor Rowan. So, any questions on the budget? Councillor Nails.
Do we know what the proposed increase in council tax for Western and Furness is going to be yet?
I don't have that.
From all I've read was that was it 4.99%. So that's all I've read externally. So we don't get that directly to us, but from what I've read in their statements was 4.99%.
So the point has been made is that, you know, we all know the pressures on households at the moment, and I just wondered what would be the consequence, bearing in mind Western and Furness have it's absolutely essential services to deliver. And that has to be paid for. And we know the position that many councils are in with, I think, 40 facing bankruptcy at the moment. I wonder if we're adding to the pressure by asking for the 1% addition to the precept, and that may be justified. I'm not arguing against it, but I'm just wondering what would be the consequence of us not asking for that 1%.
Without less income for
Well, we don't have less income, but what would it stop us doing?
Well, there'd have to be proportionate reductions in the outgoings,
yes,
in some shape or form.
Can I try and answer that?
Councillor Shepherd.
One of the issues would be that it would be 1% forever. If you note, see here we've got 1% for this year, we're proposing provisionally 3% in the future years. So that's 1-4%. But if you take out the 1% now, it affects the long term funding. Of course, we could manage without it. We just do less. But already with this budget, we're looking at reducing our expenditure significantly above our planned income to reduce our reserves. And that has been a policy. But our reserves have historically been higher than optimal. I think it's quite better for a variety of reasons. We looked at keeping it the same, but we thought it was better to have after 3 years of standstill, have 1% this year, rather than possibly having to have 4% the year going forward. So, of course, we could salami-slice things down and end up without that money. But it was I think, unanimous view of the Finance Committee that this was the way to go. That's probably not the right answer, but that's how I see it.
Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Councillor Jackson.
It should be pointed out that it's a 1% nominal increase, but in real terms, if you take minimum wage, that's going up 10%, but your council tax isn't going up 10% from Penrith Town Council. We're taking proportionately a lower amount of people's incomes while still growing our services and supporting them.
And as you mentioned in your thing, this is actually for the people on Band D, which are probably the people most exposed to problems. It's 91 pence in the year. So it's not, that 91 pence is not going to make a great deal of difference to their accounts, in my opinion.
I think Councillor Shepherd, I agree with him because really, we hope we've had COVID, we've been quiet, it's been difficult there, and we're now sort of hopefully going to start doing more. and I think the feeling is, but also, as mentioned, we're looking towards reducing the the actual funds that we've got, and even this 1%, even with that, we are looking towards reducing the fund in the future. I think by reducing it, well, by not increasing it, then we could have problems.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually, because one of the reasons that we have such a large reserve, and one of the reasons why we're now making the steps to reduce that reserve is because we had a lot of things that we planned to do during the years when COVID happened and we couldn't do anything. So obviously none of that money got spent, so we're now looking to move forward, move on, by spending our reserves, as well as having as we've talked about, a very nominal increase, just to indicate that things are moving.
You mentioned Van D, and I think we have to take into account that's not the only thing that's going up for those people. You know, everything is going up, so we need to bear that in mind. It's not just 91p on the council tax. Every bit of income that some of these families have is being stretched to the limit: gas, electric, housing costs. So I don't want us to forget those people. It's not just 91p.
Councillor?
Yes, Chair, are we actually considering a proposal at this stage, or are we just looking at a suggestion?
We'll just questions in relation to the budget as proposed. There'll be a move on the recommendations.
Well, this is it. I mean, is it a suggestion or a motion? An amendment to the motion that it be changed?
We're not at that point yet, no.
Because we're discussing in advance of the vote for the
I
proposal.
propose that we accept the budget as is, and that's been seconded. So if we want to change it, then we would have to propose that and vote on the change of the motion.
I think the question was, Councillor Nagley's question was, what effect would it have? Really, if we didn't have the increase, then what effect would it have? And it's very difficult to be precise as to what effect it would have. And yeah, I think we've considered it. I think we are reducing, over the long term, we are actually reducing the money we've got in the pot. Well, the effect. How much is 1% overall? Yeah, it's like 40,000, 50,000. Or 4,000, or 4,500. So that's what we reduction.
In straight pound notes signed, but I think the point that Charlie was making, the Councillor Shepherd was making, was the thing about the worry always is that you don't put it up and then you have to put it up a lot in one go.
It's always better to ease rises. I was always taught if you go 0, 0, 0, 0, and then suddenly you need to do 3, 4, 5, people rightfully think, well, why the heck didn't you ease the pain over several years? Why didn't you foresee these issues? Wise management of finances has at least tried to keep up with inflation.
Yes, in case in point, Eden District Council kept their thing at 0 for the last few years, and now we've moved to Westmoreland, and the first thing that's happened is we've gone for almost 5% increase, and that's quite significant in the general scheme of things.
Any other questions you want to move?
Okay, so yeah, so I'm moving that we take this budget as is. You've seconded that. So all those in favour?
You just want to read out your form request for Precept.
Yep. Oh, okay, yeah. So, okay, yeah. So what we voted on. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Councillor Knight was in favour of that. Do we have a vote for those against? I don't hear any against or abstentions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't notice that. Sorry.
I know what you said.
Okay. All those against? Abstentions?
No.
Abstention. Okay. Apologies. So which bit we're talking about?
We just need to restate that.
All right. Okay. Okay. So as a result of that vote, we'll now make a formal written request to Westmoreland and Furness Council to pay the sum of £487,735 to Penrith Town Council as its precept for the year 24-25, representing a 1% increase in council tax. So, item 11, developer engagement policy. Can I propose that we ratify the recommendation from the Council Planning Committee for the meeting held on the 4th of December that the developer engagement policy be approved? I'd like to propose the policy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay. Item 12. You can't ever over-mention grants, can you? Can I ask councillors to receive and note the grant awarded under the grant scheme to the second Penrith Scout Group, and also ask you to ratify the signature event grant application from Penrith Lions for May Day 2024 as set out in the report. I'll move that motion. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any questions on that one? The Lions event? All those in favour?
Just confirm the resolution, which is also to be the principle for future years as well.
Okay,
Ratify this year, be the principle of future years.
Right, okay, so yeah, so we're ratifying the decision of officers to award a signature event grant of £5,000 to the Lions Club of Penrith towards the May Day 2024 event, and approve the principle of an annual grant for the same value for the same event over the term of this council, subject to meeting the terms of the service level agreement. Just a show of hands to ratify that. Thank you. Okay, takes us on to item 13, code of conduct. Can we consider the notifications which have been received from Westmoreland and Furness Council and consider whether any further formal training on code of conduct should be provided for members? So you've all got that first report. Does anybody have any questions? Do any of you consider that we need any more formal training on code of conduct? Yes, no, yes, it's just all those. Okay, so what are we voting on? Oh, we're just voting it.
No questions on the notifications received, so we note those. So we want to note those, and we're going to take a formal vote on whether training is required in the council. Those in favour of training, or those in favour of no training, we'll see no further training.
All those in favour of no further
We
training?
just said it's not that we're not in favour of training, it's
Yeah,
that
just
we
training on the
believe
code
that
of
we have
conduct.
been adequately trained.
Yes.
And thank you to the officers for ongoing training.
Okay, so does everybody agree that we've been adequately trained on the code of conduct?
I do, but looking forward, ongoing, is this going to be mentioned every time we have a AGM or something? Is it going to be, I mean, you can't just say we're going to training full stop.
No, what we'll continue to do is circulate the training schedules that we receive in Calc, and as how we've run up to now is if you require training needs to identify those, and we'll arrange them. This is specifically to these code of conduct notifications in this instance.
I'm assuming that everyone's aware that those invites that come out from Calc for various trainings, all you need to do is to book yourself on it and then let somebody in the office know that you've done that, and the costs are covered by the council.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, okay, so then item 14 is another code of conduct notification which has been received from Westmoreland and Furness Council relating to a complaint made under the members' code of conduct. Again, you've got the report. I would say, and this is not a criticism of Westmoreland and Furness, I think it's just the way things are. These reports are very difficult to kind of wade your way through and work out what actually happened. But essentially, we've had no representation from the council concerned, and there was no need to be any representation because although it was found that there was something to be talked about, it was also found that nobody was at fault and there wasn't a problem with it. So we're really just noting it and moving on in this case. Is that accurate assessment?
Yeah, Paul's happy with that.
Yeah. So you're happy to note that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and that's it then. Finally, item 15 is the next meeting. The next meeting of the full council, Monday the 25th of March at 6 p.m. here. Thank you very much for the time.